scenes that almost caused the actors to quit their jobs.
It can seem like Hollywood is all glitz and glamour, but a lot of real hard work behind the scenes goes into making movies. And that work can test a person's limits, not just as an actor, but as a human being. Michelle Rodriguez in The Fast and the Furious. During production on the first Fast and Furious movie, Michelle Rodriguez actually considered walking away over concerns with the way her character, Letty Ortiz, was written. Rodriguez took issue with the way the script had Letty betray her true love Dom and fall for undercover cop Brian. The actress said the betrayal made no sense for a woman who'd prefer an alpha male to a pretty boy. Refusing to betray her vision of the character, Rodriguez put her foot down, telling producers she'd quit the movie if she had to. Fortunately for fans, the storyline was tweaked to Rodriguez's liking, and the rest is blockbuster history. Lauren Cohan in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead nearly suffered a devastating loss in Season 3. Lauren Cohan, who plays Maggie, contemplated quitting over a particularly stressful scene. The script had her character perform an emergency C-section, and she was worried it would be too intense. But after further consideration, that's exactly why she decided to stay. Recognizing that The Walking Dead is a show about people pushed to grueling extremes, she drew on her discomfort to deliver an affectingly honest performance. Jim Carrey in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Jim Carrey nabbed the role of the Grinch after making it through an audition process that included earning the approval of Dr. Seuss's widow. But that obstacle was minor compared with what he faced on the set. He had a hard time in the makeup chair where he spent hours each day during the lengthy shoot. Worse, he had to wear uncomfortable contact lenses that proved so painful that the studio brought in a military torture advisor to help Carrey cope. Those techniques got him through filming without quitting, but just barely. In fact, some shots of the Grinch's eyes had to be digitally fixed in post-production because Carrey couldn't bear to wear the contacts. Ian McKellen in The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. It's impossible to imagine Gandalf being played by anyone other than Sir Ian McKellen, who put his stamp on the character in all 6 Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films. But at one point during The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, director Peter Jackson might have needed a different actor for the part. The problem? McKellen was acting almost exclusively to a green screen, owing to the fact that his character towered over the hobbits and their interactions had to be stitched together digitally in post-production. The frustration of acting alone eventually got to McKellen, who broke down on the set at one point. Luckily, Jackson did a little emergency outreach to convince him to stick around. Jessica Alba in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. You think you hated Fox's first couple of Fantastic Four movies? Try being Jessica Alba, whose experiences playing Sue, Invisible Woman Storm nearly made her walk away from acting altogether. Alba's frustration stemmed from working with director Tim Story. She later claimed he had absurd demands, like telling her to keep her facial expression flat during a crying scene so she'd stay pretty. After 2007's Rise of the Silver Surfer, she realized she didn't care about the movie business anymore. But things have still worked out pretty well for her. She went on to co-found The Honest Company, currently valued around $2 billion. Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire united Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in an adaptation of the best-selling Anne Rice novel of the same name. But being part of 1994's most eagerly anticipated Beefcake Summit wasn't all it was cracked up to be for Pitt. Years after the movie came and went, Pitt admitted he was so miserable during filming that he actually approached producer David Geffen about buying out his contract, only to reconsider after Geffen informed him it'd cost $40 million. Russell Crowe in Robin Hood. Usually, an actor who's cast to play a major role in a movie can be counted on to identify with the basic idea of the story. For the exception to that rule, we turn to Russell Crowe, who agreed to star in Nottingham. However, he thought the concept, a role reversal on the Robin Hood story, with the Sheriff of Nottingham turning out to be the real good guy, was fundamentally flawed. Demanding a complete overhaul of the script, Crowe ended up costing the studio millions in extra development, and the result was the retitled Robin Hood, one of 2010's most critically lambasted major releases. Emma Watson in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. For a lot of actors, scoring a regular role in a successful franchise can be the difference between financial security and decades of struggle. While Emma Watson definitely enjoyed the career opportunities from her part in the Harry Potter films, she gave some serious thought to quitting. Watson reached her crossroads during contract renegotiations for the fifth chapter, 2006's Order of the Phoenix, after years of enduring strict studio oversight over schedule and appearance. Although she eventually re-signed, she admitted feeling a major sense of relief after the series ended. Al Pacino in The Godfather. Al Pacino earned a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for his work as Michael Corleone in The Godfather, and a Best Actor nomination for the sequel. So it's laughable to think studio execs initially wanted him removed from the role. Yet, according to Pacino, that's exactly what happened. He felt their resistance so acutely, in fact, that he later claimed he would have walked off the set if director Francis Ford Coppola hadn't been so supportive during those early days on the Godfather shoot. Thanks for watching! Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more videos like the one you just saw.